We are now talking to former Tigers and White Sox relief pitcher, Bruce Rondon. What's going on, Bruce?
How you doing?
We're good, man. I mean, we're not dancing, and we're not as good as you, man. I mean, obviously. But we're happy to have you on. I know you've been pretty busy in the Mexican leagues. And we've had a couple of different guys on our show over the last couple of weeks that actually play in the same league as you. But how are you doing? How are you feeling ever since your last years in the major leagues?
¿Cómo te sientes? ¿Cómo has estado en tus últimos años en la Grande Liga?
Mira, de verdad me siento mucho mejor porque estos últimos años que no he estado en Grandes Ligas he aprendido muchas cosas como picheo secundario, lo he mejorado, he estado 100% más seguro de mis picheos secundarios y me ayudan un poco más a mi recta.
Look, I have been feeling much better this year that I have been out of the MLB. I have been learning more about my secondary pitches, and I feel more secure with them. And ¿cuál fue el final?
Que me he sentido mejor con los picheos quebrados.
And with,
y le dan mejor ayuda a mi recta.
And they help me much more on my ¿cómo se dice recta?
Fastball.
On my fastball.
So you actually, when you were in the majors, I found out you had a streak. I don't know if you realize this. It was in 2013, August 8th, of 9 consecutive pitches over 100 miles an hour. What did you hear when you found out you got that kind of record?
Tú tenías un récord en el 2008 de 9 picheos en 100 por encima de las 100 millas. ¿Cómo te sientes cuando tú escuchas de ese récord?
Mira, me siento muy bien, muy feliz porque son cosas que quedan marcadas en mi carrera y son logros que son muy bonitos para mí.
I feel really good because they are achievements that are going to be in the history of my career, and it makes me feel really proud.
As everybody knows, we are talking to former Tigers and White Sox relief pitcher Bruce Rondon. Bruce, we look at your career and playing in the major leagues for almost 6 years. That's pretty damn good because it's not easy to make it to the majors and to stay there as long as you did. It's really special. What was it like for the first time in your rookie year in 2013, stepping on a major league field for the first time and looking at the lights and looking at the fans and just, cherishing the moment that you finally made it to the big leagues?
¿Cómo te sentiste la primera vez que llegaste a Grande Liga?
Mira, de verdad, alegre y nervioso.
I was happy and nervous at the same time.
Era como una alegría que tenía desde niño y no las podía superar y de verdad los nervios, la alegría, todo eso en un mismo tiempo era demasiado bonito.
It was like a happiness. It was something that I was looking to achieve since I was a little boy. And to be able to do it, it was like happening with nervous. It was something that I'm unable to explain.
So your first year in the majors, you actually were part of a loaded Tigers team that went to the ALCS. What were some of those playoff games and big games like?
¿Cómo eran esos juegos en la playoff? ¿Cómo te sentiste?
En Grandes Ligas.
Ajá.
No, pues creo que el béisbol en ese momento, en los playoffs, son como con más adrenalina, son mucho mejores que la regular.
The playoff games are more full of adrenaline and are much better than regular games. So you feel much more like nervous and anxious.
Bruce, 2016 was your best season. You were 5-2. You had a 2.97 ERA. When you look at a relief pitcher, those are pretty damn good numbers. If I'm not mistaken, you had 45 strikeouts that year. What was it like having a season like that and really taking your game to that next level?
Fue tu mejor temporada. ¿Cómo te sientes el haber tenido unos números tan buenos en el 2013?
Mira, primero que todo, me sentía muy bien de salud, ¿sabes? Después que vine de mi tomillón.
No, ese 2013 fue antes del tomillón.
No, 2014 fue el tomillón.
Él te está preguntando 2013.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
No, que me sentí muy bien y fue mi primera temporada en las Grandes Ligas.
He felt really good. I'm sorry. At the beginning, he thought you was asking after his Tommy John surgery. So,
No, I
until that's-
understand. Actually, I understand a little bit of Spanish. I don't know how to speak it, but I understand a little bit of it. So I kind of realized that. Yeah.
In 2013, he said he feel really good. It was his first year in Major League, so it was awesome. He felt really, really good.
So, one hitter that you thought was the toughest to face when you were pitching, who would it be and why?
¿Cuál ha sido el jugador más duro que tú consideras que fue para picharle cuando estaba en Grandes Ligas y el por qué?
David Ortiz.
David Ortiz.
En Boston, base llena, 2 outs, 2 strikes y 3 bolas. Para mí fue el bateador más difícil en ese momento y en mi historia.
Yeah, for him, his tougher ones is David Ortiz. It was in Buxton. It was 2 outs. Habían 2 outs.
3 bolas y 2 strikes.
Base loaded, 3 ball and 2 strike. It was like the midpoint. It was tough for him. It's the most tougher for him.
As everybody knows, we are talking to former Tigers and White Sox relief pitcher Bruce Rondon. What player did you look up to? Obviously, maybe that you were in the major leagues and you looked up to, or even before you were in the majors. Was there a particular player that you looked up to before or after, or even now that you look up to as a ex-major league player?
¿Hay un jugador que tú admirabas antes o estando en la Grande Liga o ahora que tú admiras?
Pues mira, siempre admiraba mucho a Andrés Galarraga, un bateador venezolano, porque no teníamos las capacidades de ver los juegos de béisbol de Grandes Ligas, pero a él siempre lo nombraban mucho en nuestro país.
One of the baseball players he admired, it was Andrés
Andrés Galarraga.
Galarraga, or whatever.
Galarraga, yeah.
He was, they wasn't able to see the baseball games in his country at that moment, but it was a player that was always mentioned in Venezuela, so he was always looking forward for him.
So you got to play as well with one of the best hitters in our era too, Miguel Cabrera. What was he like as a teammate, and do you have any particularly good story about him that stands out?
Que cómo era jugar con Miguel Cabrera y que si tiene alguna buena historia que contar sobre él.
Pues mira, de verdad fue lo mejor compartir con uno de los mejores beisbolistas que han visto mis ojos y han visto el mundo. Es un pelotero excepcional dentro y afuera del terreno y de verdad fue muy, muy bonito estar al lado de una leyenda tan grande como él.
It was really nice to be playing next to a great baseball player, not only seen by his eyes, by the world. And it was a really nice experience be playing next to him.
Last question from me. Is there a particular thing or something that you would say to a kid that was like you in a country, a third world country like yours, where you can give them advice on how hard you need to work to get where you were to make it to the major leagues? There's just something that you can give the fans information on what is it like and how is it like to get where you are, where you were in your career?
¿Hay algún consejo a un niño de un tercer mundo, así como el país de donde tú eres, que tú le puedas dar un consejo para llegar a donde tú llegaste? ¿O hay algo que tú le puedas decir a tus fanáticos hasta donde tú llegaste?
Pues mira, el consejo que yo le puedo dar a una persona o a un niño, bien dicho, puede ser que, mira, lo primero y principal, lo primero tiene que ser hacerle caso a sus padres. Y después dedicarte al 100% a tu béisbol, a tu básquet, a lo que tú te dediques y entregarte el 100%. Porque sin eso creo que no vas a tener éxito.
The first that I can advise to any kids that are willing to go to the MLB is to first listen to your father and mother. That's the first advice. And the second one is to be 100% into it. You have to give everything. If not, you will never make it.
So, baseball culture-wise, what are some of the big differences? Now you're playing in Mexico and you grew up in Venezuela. What are some of the big differences between those two countries as well as when you played in the United States with the Tigers and with the White Sox?
¿Cuál es la diferencia de jugar en México como en Venezuela o Estados Unidos?
Pues mira, La temporada de México no es tan mala como algunas personas dicen. Es un béisbol muy respetado y se compite mucho. La diferencia en los Estados Unidos y Venezuela, que juegan demasiado grandes ligas, que están en grandes ligas y concursan en las temporadas en Venezuela y juegan en los Estados Unidos.
The difference between the baseball here in Mexico and the U.S. It is the first thing is not that tough as some people think. It's not that bad. It's a very, very competitive baseball here, and you're going against a lot of players that have been in the major league and players that play also in Venezuela and also here, and you have to be against them. There's a lot of major league players that have been before in the MLB.
Well, Bruce, we really appreciate you joining us. We know you're very, very busy, and we'll definitely be following you over there in the Mexican leagues. We have a bunch of guys that have been on the show. We had
Bruce Maxwell.
Bruce Maxwell on the show. He's a nice guy, and another guy that's a fan of our show. We definitely would love to get you guys on again, and we really appreciate your wife helping us out, understand a little bit of Spanish, and giving us a little bit of some help on getting to know you.
Thank you very much.
Gracias, guys. Thank you.